my channel. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Rachel, the owner of the Eclectic Cottage in Spokane, Washington. And my channel is kind of a behind the scenes look into the goings on here in my studio, which doubles as my kitchen, where I refinish, refab, refurbish all the furniture and decor that I find on my thrift hauls and my junk runs. So if that's the kind of content you like, if you want to kind of see what I've got going on, the products that I'm getting in, the things that I'm redoing, please think about subscribing to my channel and then hitting the little notification bell, and that will let you know when I post a new video. Right now my schedule is Tuesdays and Thursdays, Tuesdays being some sort of a flip, whether it be a thrift flip or a furniture flip, and then Thursday being a thrift haul, basically showing you all of the cool stuff that either myself and my husband, because I do drag him out with me sometimes, managed to find on our junk run. Anyway, without further ado, here are the 4 projects that I completed for you for this week's video. So for project 1, I found these 4 houses, little ceramic houses at the thrift store, and I like to use these to make what I call a small world. And my first step is to always paint them white. So I took them outside and gave them a couple coats of Rustoleum's flat white, just to give them a good base coat so that I could go over them with paint. This is after 1 coat. And so after they're dry, I take my white Swan by DIY and I kind of pounce the paint on just because I don't want a brush texture. I want it more stippled. So this is kind of the effect that I'm going for. Plus it pushes the paint into all the little crevices that are on these pieces. So I give each one a really good coat of paint. Almost done. This one took a little bit because it had a lot more color than the other pieces. And once that's done, I am going to take Mod Podge and I am going to paint all the roofs and add glitter. And I just love this effect. For me, it makes it look kind of like a little snow scene with glittery snow on all the roofs. And it's a little bit time consuming because you have to go over everything really carefully, and I like to get all the little rims of the roof and all the little pieces and parts that I think would actually have snow on them, and then tap that glitter back off because you want to save that for your next piece. I'm using it's a translucent extra fine glitter. I found it on Amazon. I'm just making sure I get everything covered really well. And then this particular piece, I had already decided I have a big hurricane here in the shop, and I thought this would be perfect with a little bottle brush tree to make one of my small worlds. So here I am pouring the fake snow into the bottom of this hurricane. Trying to be careful not to make a total mess of everything. And then just kind of flatten that out some. And then I'll add in the house, or actually technically it's a mill, and the little bottle brush tree that I found at the Dollar Tree, and then it's done. For project 2, I was really excited to find this little cutting board, cheese board, whatever you want to call it, with the cloche that goes over it. And I knew exactly what I wanted to do with it when I found it. I knew I wanted to use that circle transfer on it. So here I am painting it with one good coat of Little Black Dress by DIY. Just give it a nice, solid, even coat of paint. And once that's dry, I'm going to go back in with my wet paper towel and distress. Just kind of going around the corners and taking a little bit of that paint off where I want to see the wood. And once that's done, the next step is sealing it. And so this time I'm using Big Top by DIY. First step is always to stir. And then just giving this, again, a nice even coat of top coat all over the piece, on the sides and in the little crevice, making sure it goes on milky but it dries clear. Let that dry, and once it's completely dried and cured, I can put my transfer down. So I knew I wanted to use this little round chicken, and that is out of the Morning Farmhouse transfer set by Redesign by Prima. So here I am just kind of making sure that I get it really nice and centered. And then I'm using the transfer stick to put it down, and it went down really easily. You can see here I just start pulling that vellum piece back as the transfer sets. And once it's done, I'm going to pull the vellum sheet all the way off and then do what's called burnishing, which basically is you're setting that transfer down into the top coat and making sure that nothing is not stuck where it belongs. And the last step is to take and coat over the transfer. So I'm using Big Top again and just one small even coat, and then it's done. For project 3, I found these 3 little, I don't know what you want to call them, stars on a stick, I guess. They were at the thrift store, and I just thought they were kind of cool. They could be used to put in with your Christmas decor. They could be out all year long. They're just kind of a neat little piece to go in the middle of a decor vignette. So I thought I would paint them black. I am desperately trying to use up the rest of this little black dress of mine. So here I am just giving them all a good coat of black paint. And then I saw this process on YouTube, and I thought I would try it, where you just add some flour to your wet paint and then set it aside and let it dry. So here I am, and so let it dry the way that it was. And then you come back with a brush and you just brush the flour off. And it kind of leaves just a milky, it tones the black down just a little bit. I thought it was just really kind of a pretty effect. And then I am taking Pennies from Heaven, which is a patina from DIY, and I'm dry brushing that on. And now dry brushing is a little bit of a lengthy process, because the point is you want to start slow and work your way up. So I dip my brush in the lid there, and then I wipe it off on the paper towel, and then just go around the piece and little by little add the patina where I want it. So I do this to all 3 stars, just kind of again wiping the patina off and then slowly going over each star. And then when I'm done, I go back through and add just a little bit more, because I did want a little bit more of that copper finish to show through. I think they turned out great. So for my 4th and final project, I have had this wooden tray sitting around in my garage, and then I brought it here to the cottage, and it's been in my, what I call my bump out, which is a little storage room, for months now. And I decided, since I am trying to use up the rest of my little black dress, and that is kind of the color I wanted to paint this anyway, this would be a perfect project to add in with this video. So here I am just kind of giving it a good cleaning because again, it is filthy. It's been around for a while. So I go over it with Crud Cutter first, wipe that all off, and then I use my Mr. bottle with some water and just try and rinse any of that Crud Cutter back off that might be lurking around in any of the cracks and crevices. Just trying to get everything nice and clean. Once that's done, I am going to go in with my paint. So I am using Little Black Dress by DIY, the last of my quart of paint here, so I can finally open a new can. And I am not painting the bottom, and the reason being is I am saving the bottom to paint white because I am planning to use decoupage paper, and decoupage paper always looks best on a white background. So here I am just going back through painting the outside of the tray, and then I have to paint the handles and get into all the little ridges that are on the handles. And then I had to kind of flip it upside down to make sure that I got the bottom of the handles because they were really difficult to see. And with that flat brush, it doesn't necessarily do a really good job of the bottom. So here it is all painted. And now I am going to paint the bottom white. And I did end up doing 2 coats of white Swan on this. And you can see here, I'm just carefully cutting that paint in, trying not to go over my black paint that I was so careful to put down. And just giving it a nice even coat of paint. And I'm using, this is a zebra brush. It's got really soft bristles, and so it doesn't tend to leave a lot of brush strokes in the paint, which is awesome, especially since, again, I didn't want any ridges or rough patches in the decoupage paper when I laid it down. So just trying to get a nice even coat of paint. And then, like I said, I did go over this a second time just because, as you can see, kind of there's a little bit of a shadow. And then I did splatter some on the black paint, which I should have sealed first probably, but here we are trying to get that little bits of white paint off. Now the next step is I am going to measure this tray because I am planning on cutting my decoupage paper with my paper cutter that I have here at the shop. And I need really exact dimensions. So I'm trying to be super careful to make sure that I get the exact measurements. Once that's done, I'm finally actually sealing this piece, and I don't seal the bottom just because I am going to be using liquid patina, which will seal the bottom anyway. No need to waste the big top. So I'm just going around and doing one nice even coat of big top all over the black. And then it's time to cut my decoupage paper. This was a little bit of a process because it was too wide to fit in, so I had to kind of fold it under a little bit. But this cutter is so great. It goes out to 16 inches, which is awesome. And it just slices that paper just perfectly, really nice. So here I cut it. And then I have to go and do the other side. And again, I need to fold it under just to make sure, and I'm trying to make sure that the edges line up just evenly. I really want this piece to be perfect when I lay it down. Just slide it under there, line it out. And then zoop, cut. And there's my piece. So here I'm using DIY's liquid patina, and I'm going to start on this one side and just kind of go down the one side of the tray with the liquid patina so that I can lay that portion of the decoupage paper down and get it stuck down, and then I will go back and slowly work my way across. So I'm just really making sure that the corners and the lines all line up really well. I don't want any overlap. I don't want it sticking up in any corners. So I'm trying to be super careful. And then it's just a matter of going over the paper and making sure that there aren't any bubbles or wrinkles. So I'm just kind of smoothing it out. And then once I have that side done and down really well into the medium, the liquid patina, I'll take my brush and I will finish going across and just put a nice even coat of liquid patina over the rest of the bottom. So once that's done and I got a nice even coat down, I can take that paper and just slowly lay it down, trying to push out any wrinkles or bubbles, and making sure it's nice and smooth as it goes down. I did end up taking my little tool from my Cricut machine and just kind of using that to push out any extra bubbles that were in there. Once it's down, you go over it one more time with liquid patina. Actually, I went over this twice, 2 more times with liquid patina, letting it dry thoroughly between each coat. I just want to make sure that it is good and solid. I think it turned out really good. So what did you guys think of the 4 projects? Which one was your favorite? I think for me, it's probably the tray with the decoupage paper. I just really like the way that color pops against the black in the background. So, but let me know which one was your favorite and put it in the comments below. So I hope you'll stay tuned for Thursday's video. I'm not sure at this point what exactly I'm doing for Thursday. My husband and I did not go on a junk run this past weekend, so I'm going to have to come up with something. His idea was to thrift out of my garage because I have quite the hoard going in there, and show you what I found. But I actually have some other ideas in mind. We'll see what I come up with, but I hope you'll check it out and see me back here on Thursday, and have a great night, and I'll see you then. Bye.